If we can get communities each individually to thrive and understand menopause, that's the best way we can change the conversation and break the barriers and normalise the conversation. This is where we've got to start game changing. We've just got to take those barriers away and ensure that women no longer bury their head in the sand, but actually raise it high, prepare for it, and actually go ahead and aspire to live their best menopause.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Thriving in Menopause, brought to you by Prevention Magazine. I'm Zoe Mernier, the editor of Prevention. My guest today is Heather Jackson, CEO and co-founder of Gen M, the brand behind the symbol MTIC, an initiative transforming how brands recognise and support women through menopause. After her own unexpected and confusing experience with perimenopause, Heather set out to challenge the silence, stigma, and what she calls the invisibility of midlife women, bringing together some of the world's biggest brands to create real, tangible change. And now that movement is arriving here in Australia. In this episode, we're exploring why menopause has been overlooked for so long, what needs to change more, and how we can start shifting the narrative from fear to feeling informed, supported, and empowered. Heather, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh no, thank you very much. I'm really honoured to be on this podcast with you, because I do appreciate that we've all got to talk more about menopause if we want to really break the taboo, change the rhetoric, and allow the opportunity to give more women choice, education, an opportunity to thrive. So this is a great opportunity.
Heather, the MTIC has made a huge impact in the UK, and now you brought it to Australia. So what does this moment mean to you?
Well, I mean, to be honest, 5 years ago, I was a frustrated woman who couldn't find what she was looking for when she searched, source, and shopped for products that I felt that could help me ease, relieve, or support any one of the signs I was experiencing. And I've been a runner all my life, and actually, I've always had a running shop to go into to be able to pick things that would work for me. And I actually, at the time, felt, the menopause was like the biggest marathon I was going to enter, and yet, where was the support? Where was my community? Where was those products and the kit that could help me and allow me to live my menopause the best way? And even worse than that, I could, when I was looking for supplements and things, how could I trust the products? Everything was overwhelmed for me. So me and my friend at the time, we decided that we'd do some research because we were having a real nag. We decided at the end of a night and a bottle of wine too many that we were going to commission some independent research, because we wanted to see whether we were just two moaning perimenopausal women, or there was more women out there like us who felt underserved, overlooked, let down, invisible to brands and retailers that we'd been loyal to all our lives. And where were they when we needed climate control bedding, or a foundation that wouldn't run down our face, or a supplement and a nutrient that would help us better with our sleep and things? And it wasn't about we were looking to cure menopause. I was looking for things that could give me a better lived experience, just as much as I did with my running. So we did some independent research, and with over 4,000 women, it came out that 87% of women felt like us. 96% wanted a one-stop store for menopause. They wanted actually a place where they could really, to the heartland, look for products that, one, that they needed, and two, things that they didn't know they needed, but actually once they saw them, they realized that was
Where
what
have
I
you
needed.
been all my life? Yeah.
Exactly. And so our first port of call was to create an incredible website. Our working title was Moogle. We were going to be the Google of the menopause and allow women everything on there, bar HRT. We've never professed to be doctors. This was about everything else that we might need and want to support our lives. And we built it, and we went out to 8-9 of the biggest retailers in the UK, and they all went, well, what's menopause and what's it got to do with us? Because 5-6 years ago, menopause wasn't talked about like it is now. It felt very medical, it felt very transitional, and it wasn't part of society and life. And so out of my 7th meeting of rejection, I just got in the car and I went, this is ridiculous. We need to make menopause the new vegan, because I Googled how many vegans are in the UK and it came out 3%. And I thought, wow, it's taken 40 years to grow that into a vibrant market with brands and retailers who've understandably get vegan, given them what they wanted in a place where they wanted, better signposted it, and the whole customer experience. I mean, then at the time, I knew that there's 20% menopausal women out there at any one time who felt underserved and overlooked, felt, right, if we can't do the website, let's unite brands and retailers to make them realize we need to be treated as well as you've done of the vegan audience. I wanted the same respect that they'd given.
Yeah.
That's when I nonchalantly in the car drew out an M tick, and I said, right, Sam, this is what the future looks like. We're going to create this and we're going to make a symbol that's as recognizable as the vegan V over the next 5 years. And here, presto. But we realized, I was being too ambitious on that, because what credentials or criteria did I have to create a symbol that could be approved as menopause friendly? So I went back to Boots, who I'd already talked to, and I pitched them the symbol of the future that the world needed. And within 6 minutes, he said, we're in with you, we'll help you, and we'll make this a credible symbol. So that was 4 years ago now in the UK. And then we spent a year working with them on the criteria for it, a certification that will be able to go across all categories of menopause. They tested it out in 1,500 stores and 150 products. And then we were ready to actually to release the MTIC and say to brands out there, put your products through the accreditation. It's menopause friendly, not menopause specific, because there's some incredible ingredients and products out there that actually haven't been created for menopausal women per se, but they have got some incredible ingredients in that can help dry itchy skin or help you with your thinning hair. Anyway, long story short, within 3 years, we've now got over 160 of the biggest global and challenger brands on board with us, from your Unilevers to your Procter & Gamble's to great challenger brands as well. Every one of our biggest retailers now and grocers have got not only designated menopause space that they're growing, but they're also building designated menopause hubs online as well. Because what we've got to realize is this is a discerning woman who actually is looking for products, but equally 75% of women now are going online. They're looking to the internet to start to search, source and shop for that starting point to menopause. So basically, we have now 12 of the biggest retailers committed, giving better designated space in store and online, curated space that can only have the MTIC products in it, because the MTIC products have been put through a strict, robust criteria to actually ensure they do what they say on the label. Because believe me, I was a naive consumer in this market of supplements and everything else. I thought everything that said what it did on the label would do it, and we all realize now that many of them haven't got the right amount, or they might have got an ingredient in to help you with your sleep or your brain fog, but they haven't got enough of it in to actually make a big change. This is a really exciting time for me as a woman and representing women in midlife. And I hope that many of your listeners here will realize that we've all got the ability and the power to make change happen. So it really is exciting times. And yeah, I didn't think I'd be 58 years old building an organization now that's about to go global. I'm very, very proud of it. I'm out of my menopause now. It's not everything that we're doing now is not going to help me. It will help my daughter, but more importantly, the legacy's there. The MTIC and what we're doing around menopause and the market, and actually protecting the consumer and the market from menowashing, exploitation and manipulation, is that actually we're creating something that's legacy making. We're all brought on for a purpose. I do believe everyone's got a purpose in life. It's just finding it and actually creating something that could enable the biggest brands and the biggest retailers, those who have the biggest reach of consumer and work colleague, to actually come together, have a better understanding, awareness and support of menopause, can actually be the game changers here. And we do need women to stop fearing menopause. Our research report came out last week, and it proves that year on year, by 10%, more women are fearing menopause than they did in 2020. And that's because the rhetoric is still negative. You've got every celebrity talking about menopause and how bad it's been. You've got doctors not knowing what they're doing, or you've got some really great doctors, but then the actual overall doctors aren't all educated on it. And I think that's the same in Australia. And actually, no one's got it right. And we've been able to prove that even though the awareness of menopause has gone up, the lived experience hasn't. It's gone down because women don't know what to do. They're confused, they're overwhelmed or underwhelmed. And this is a time now for us to really think clearly everyone's got a role to play. This isn't just down to the medics, educationalists, society, brands and retailers. We all have a role to play because not one brand, one organization, one doctor is going to change menopause, but together we can. This is an audience that's been underserved for far too long, and it's our time now. But actually, it's our time to do it right. So any brand that gets certified with an MTIC on their product, and that because each brand comes on board, but they have to put each product through. You can't just be a brand and go, oh, we can have MTIC certification. But if any brand or that product is seen as exploiting in marketing or branding assets, they will risk losing their MTIC. That's why I'm so proud of Terry White Chemart actually bringing the MTIC to Australia, working along all their pharmacies and their communities. Every one of their pharmacies are all ready to do this. They're excited. They want to take menopause into the community. They want to start the conversations because women don't have a problem talking about menopause. They have a problem starting the conversation. So again, it's about raising the awareness. There's 48 signs of menopause. And the Australian woman is very much like the British, the UK woman. She can, on average, only name 3 to 5 signs of menopause. Now, if you don't know what you're going to get, how can you find the solutions to help you? And we owe it to ourselves to actually be better educated and prepared, because the better prepared we are for menopause, the better experience we're going to have of it. And that's what we're all about.
So what does a company have to do to get the MTIC? Like that, it's a pretty strict criteria that is involved in that, right?
It is. First of all, they have to join Gen M, the collective, a collective of brands and partners who are united in number one, understanding menopause better, and then committing to support and serve it better. And that's for work colleagues and the consumer. So that's what they've got to sign up first to, because the intent has got to be there for all the right reasons. And then they come with us with the brands or the products in that brand that they believe could support any one of those 48 signs. They give us all the criteria, the medical certification. They actually work with them, have the use their data on menopausal women and everything else. And by the time that our compliance team have worked with them, we can tell them whether, we believe that it's menopause friendly or not. We really are keeping a tight rein on this because, like I say, women demand the confidence to be able to shop with trust for products that can help ease, relieve, or support any one of those signs that they might be experiencing.
But yes, well, as you're right, as there certainly has been, as you say, that meno washing, where just all of a sudden there's been a huge influx of products and noise out there to kind of supposedly help menopausal women, but there's obviously a lot of people just trying to ride on the coattails.
Well, I mean, when the powers that be call, all anything about menopause, unless it's in the medical side of it, meno washing, I actually asked them to realize that 96% of women want these retailers to help them better. And actually, it's not exploitation. It's not meno washing. It's actually menopowerment, but it's only menopowerment if those products have got the right criteria and the ingredient. It's actually about giving a credible, trusted, respected place that they can search, source and shop. And the MTIC was created because I didn't want to be a woman who was manipulated. I didn't want to be a woman who was exploited, and I didn't want meno washing. I wanted trust, I wanted efficacy, and I wanted to manage my menopause my way. I wanted the education and the support out there for me to choose how I wanted to menopause. And we're not about HRT or not to HRT. It's actually about living your best life. And I would ask any woman out there that actually I believe any woman can live a better menopause today than they were living yesterday. And it has to start somewhere. And even if you're living a great menopause, you can make it even better. And I want every woman to thrive, to want a great menopause, not I'll put up through this or it won't last too long, or well, it is what it is. No, this is your life. You've worked hard to get to here in your life, for your experiences and everything else. This is your time to thrive. And it's unacceptable that women are just putting up with their menopause. I think it's a sacrilege, and I want women to want to swing from a chandelier in this period of their life. I want them to be on that Thelma and Louise journey. My God, we're the society of women who've, we've worked hard to change the barriers around the workplace and take, have choice and control to take our careers to the top. We've worked hard with our families if we've been privileged or chosen to have children and things. This is our time. We should be at the most experienced, the most confidence should be at the best when we've got our great friendships and networks. And yet only 2% of women in menopause feel like they're thriving and only 5% feel confident. These are figures that none of us can ignore. And actually, we all have a role to play across society in changing them.
Yeah, for sure. So for Australian women now who are so inspired by this and want to go out, where can we find an MTIC product, and how do we go about that?
Well, you can only find the MTIC and the work that's been done in Australia at the moment in Terry White Chemart. It started with them launching and educating all their franchises and putting the MTIC out there and talking about it. We're actually building now the actual listings that are going to go into the Terry White. They have some incredible brands already, including, I mean, quite a few brands that are in the UK as well. Brands that you'll recognize, like Boost Lab in there, Promensal, Revlon, Dulco, Centrum, Biogaia, Nualoom, Hey Sister, Femfresh, Menomai, Happy Healthy You, Dulco. These are the starting places, but actually, in the UK, 3,000 products have got the MTIC passed on them. And actually, that's what we want to bring to Australia now. I do believe in the future it will go beyond pharmacy, it will go into clothing, and it will go into food and nutrients and support, because I want a place where a woman can supermarket shop for ingredients and know what products could really enhance her menopause. Because I don't know about you, but I represent the menopausal era where we were guinea pigs for dieting. I've done the Atkins, the Cambridge, the Cabbage Street diet, and actually I've entered menopause woefully nutrient deficit. I've been calorie counting all my life and dress size counting, and actually never once thought about the nutrients. And when I changed my diet to give myself nutritionally dense ingredients, actually my brain fog, my sleep automatically was better. It wasn't brilliant, but it was a damn sight better than it had been, if you know what I mean. And, like climate controlled bedding or pajamas that have got the technology to wicker you. So you can have your hot sweat, but you won't be lying in damp sheets that then you get up, you wake the whole family up, you change your shoes, you get on Instagram, make a cup of tea, and you're off before you know it, 3 hours of your life. Then you go back to bed and you wake up going, I need a donut, I need some sugar to actually enhance. You wake up feeling good, and then you'll go on to your nutritionally better food. It like I say, it's about starting today better than yesterday. A woman said to me, why would a foundation have an MTIC? I said, because actually if it's a foundation that can not run down your face when you're having a hot sweat, that's a great ability for women who, you're wanting to feel confident even though you've got your menopause. When I do apologize to the Australian women out there who are wanting what we've got in the UK overnight, it doesn't happen overnight. It actually takes time for retailers to build it, put it into the stores, get the listings in there. But I can tell you now, Terry White Chemart have the intent, the desire, and they've got the execution ready to deliver this. And in another year's time, menopause in Australia in retail will be a totally different space.
If there's one thing you want everyone listening or to take away about menopause, what would that be?
Well, one, that there's 48 signs. Two, that, they're not all debilitating, but if you have enough and ignore them, you can only keep standing up when someone punches. You can only keep standing up so many times. And actually, don't actually let your menopause control you. Get educated about it, better prepared. Like I say, you wouldn't run a marathon in a pair of slippers with no training. Don't enter the menopause the same way, because when you enter a marathon, you're emotionally, physically, and mentally prepared for that. You've got the right kit, you've actually eaten the right food, and you've done the right training. Well, the same applies to menopause. And actually, it's the biggest marathon a woman will ever enter. The one thing I am going to ask women to do is prepare, and stop fearing it and putting your head in the sand thinking I'll deal it when it happens. Actually get your body ready to deal with it in a better place for when it does happen. It's there for us all to live our best menopause. We just need to understand how to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that marathon analogy. It's that, yeah, that makes so much sense when you put it like.
Well, I mean, as a marathon, it was the easiest way for me, and we've now united the biggest retailers to do it for women. And, Terry White came out, have come along the way in Australia. I have no doubt in a year's time more retailers will come along. And I'd ask any listener on this, if you work for a big retailer who you think should actually start to look at designated space in the MTIC, get them to get in touch with Gen M, and let's see how we start to do that. And equally, if you're a consumer or a customer and you're not happy with how your retailers looking at your brands even, we've all got a role to play. Anita Roddick of the late Anita Roddick of the Body Shop, she used to say, if you think you're too small to make change happen, try sleeping in bed with a mosquito. Every person listening to this has a role to play and can make change happen. Let's not sit back and think someone else is going to solve it. It's our issue to solve for a better tomorrow. And let's all have a role to play. I have committed to come back next year at the big pharmacy conference out there in Brisbane in January. And I am intending on doing a tour of Australia around the Terry White Chemart stores to actually meet the communities there. Because what I love about Terry White is they understand that they are a heartland of communities. And actually, if we can get communities each individually to thrive and understand menopause, that's the best way we can change the conversation and break the barriers and normalize the conversation. This is where we've got to start game changing. We've just got to take those barriers away and ensure that women no longer bury their head in the sand, but actually raise it high, prepare for it, and actually go ahead and aspire to live their best menopause. Remember, when we're talking about menopause as well, remember the impact we're having on younger women, and that I don't want younger women of 30 going, oh my God, I think I'm living my best life because I've got the menopause to come in a few years' time. I want them to go to women like me, wow, if that's 57, bring it on. And actually, I'm not fearful of it. And actually, I don't hear many 30-year-old women going, bring on my menopause right now. And yet it should be our most exciting time. Do you know what I mean? I want them to aspire to get to this point of life and know that you've got everything's in your lane, and everything you've worked hard for and become, and the best version of you can really go forward and continue forward. And unfortunately, that's not how women feel right now. And I'm damned if it's not going to be changed, because it's
Yeah,
terrible. And
yeah.
like I say, let's not get bitter, let's get better.
Yes, you're absolutely doing everything to make that happen, and we're so appreciative. Look, Heather Jackson, I know it's very late over there in the UK, so thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate you staying up to talk us through this amazing initiative.
And listen, if anyone wants to see what we're doing, go www.gen-m.com, and actually, just like I say, be the change you want to see. So thank you very much. And I do hope we get to talk again when I'm next out in Australia. So thank you very much.
Looking forward to it. Well, if this episode resonated with you, please be sure to like, review, and subscribe. And that was the final episode of season 15 of Thriving in Menopause. So until next time, take care and keep showing up for your health, your energy, and yourself. I'm Zoe Mernier, and I'll see you back here for season 16.